Chapter 17. Joe Green. Joe Green proved to be a very nice child. He was attentive and cautious, and so he took no time in absorbing whatever John taught him. John soon learned to trust him. One morning the master sent for Joe to deliver a note to a gentleman's house. Joe saddled me and off we went. On our way home we were crossing a brick field when we came upon a horse cart that was so heavily loaded with bricks that its wheels were jammed in the hard mud of a deep foothill. The carter was drunk and was yelling at the two horses that pulled the cart. He whipped them mercilessly, and the two helpless creatures tried in vain to drag the cart out, but it was an impossible task. The beasts twisted every muscle while the cruel man pulled fiercely at the hair of the horses. He yelled and flogged the horses in the most ruthless manner. Joe could not bear to see this and told the man that the wheels of the cart were too stuck for the horses to move the cart. He also offered to help him lighten his cart so that the horses might be able to drag it out of the portal. But when the adamant drunkard paid no heed and continued to whip the horses, it was too much for Joe. He turned my head and we galloped straight towards the house of Mr. Clay, the master brickmaker. Joe knocked on the door. Master Clay himself answered it. "Hello, young lad," said he. "Has the squire ordered for anything this morning?" he asked. "No," replied Joe, his voice brimful with excitement. "But I just saw a man whipping two horses ruthlessly in your brickyard," he concluded. Then he quickly said how he had offered to help the man, but had been arrogantly told to mind his business. Mr. Clay went rushing to save the horses and reprimand the man, but before he left asked Joe if he would provide evidence of what he had witnessed in the presence of a magistrate. Of course, little Joe said he would be glad to give evidence. When we reached home, Joe recounted his little adventure to John, who duly praised him. John felt that not many people cared or dared enough to oppose the cruelty when they saw it happening, and turned their back instead, thinking it was not their business. It is every man's business to intervene and stop cruelty or oppressions whenever and wherever it is witnessed. "You did the right thing, my boy," he said. Joe was glad that John had approved of his behavior and cleaned my feet with a firm hand. Later Joe was called to the master's private room to give evidence against the cruel man. Our master was one of the magistrates of the country, and cases were often brought to him for settlement. So off went Joe importantly to provide what might have been the first evidence in his life. When he returned after a while, he was bubbling with excitement, and he gave me a friendly slap on my back and said, "We won't tolerate cruelty, old chap, will we?" We learnt later that as a result of Joe's evidence and the appalling condition of the horses, the man was sent to prison for 2 months. This incident had changed Joe forever. John joked that he had grown an inch taller in that week. Although he was as placid as before, there was more fortitude and grit in whatever he did. I personally felt that he had metamorphosed from a carefree boy into a responsible man.